Hey, good morning. I need more enthusiasm. Yeah. Good morning. Good. How was last night? Party? Yeah. Lucky bastard. Like I couldn't go because I had to prepare for this, and I didn't expect that there's actually people because I saw like people get all drunk and they're waking up like 12 lunchtime or something. So thank you very much for coming. I'm extremely delighted that I got invitation to RuPy, and actually how I got the kind of RuPy team spotted me is based on one talk I did with David as an interface, which I did like about 10 months ago. And originally it was 5 minutes. So all the speakers are now panicking like, is it 20 minutes, 25 minutes? Don't worry, mine was initially 5 minutes, just expand it. So I'm sure I'm gonna finish it in 25 minutes. And so the trick so next year, there's going to be Polycon, right? And I think there's going to be another curation invitation. And if we want to get an invitation, there's a few tricks I did last year, which you could take away, which is, if you look at this, what am I doing? I was talking about some of my pet project, but that was not the interesting bit. Interesting bit was I was actually singing with a pet bottle, and I was also dancing, and this, I think lunchtime, 3 p.m., there's a lightning talk. I think some of the people are doing. This is a hint. So I'm expecting some of the dancing and the singing, no pressure, but that's gonna give you, extra points. And hi, my name is Makoto, and hello. I'm introduced as an extremist programmer, and I didn't call myself that. It was given, I earned, because my old colleague, Pablo, gave another lightning talk about extremist programming back in February. And he talked about extreme programming, which is elevating it above everything else and applying it everywhere, just going extreme all the way. And he made one example about using the extreme I did some time back is about using Comic Sans. And Comic Sans is a kind of font everybody love to hate. Like people say, yeah, I hate that, right? But is it really, you really hate it? Or is it because of social pressure, peer pressure? I look like uncool if I say I actually like Comic Sans. So I wanted to try it out. And so, the way to do is like, browser set to Comic Sans, text editor set to Comic Sans, everything set to Comic Sans. So just to tell you the result set, one thing you should definitely not do is like set editor to Comic Sans, because what happens is like because of proportional fonts, there's a space. I don't know whether there's a space or not. And interestingly, the editor even knows that. Editor warns you that proportional font is bad for you, and it looks unpleasing. You even say that. So next time you say why you don't like Comic Sans, you say because of proportional font. It has like you can't see the difference between space or not. So that's why it's bad for you. You just don't say you hate it. You say it with reason. Okay. So that was a point of my talk today. Thank you. That's just the beginning. And my name is Makoto, and I'm originally from Japan, but I'm in London now. And in London, I host London D3JS meetup. And how many people have heard of the word D3? Okay, about half. And how many people has used it? Okay, 2, 3. Okay, so D3J is a JavaScript library. It's described as a data visualization library. And today I'll talk you through the very basic of D3JS and also how exciting and how important to you, even though you might not be necessarily interested in data visualization. And also, in the very beginning, I was doing that pet project, but that pet project sometimes turned into some sort of like educational program called benkyoplayer.com. And benkyo in Japanese means like study. Okay, so that's another thing you learn. In Japanese, study means benkyo. And what it does is, and I'm actually doing it as a full-time, so has anyone taken like Coursera, edX, Udacity? Raise hands. Okay. So I really like all these courses. They are all called like MOOC, massively open online courses. I'm a big fan of it. So I was taking, and anyone taking the course, what you realize is it's like massive number of videos. Like some courses like have over 100 videos. So it's very hard to to watch everything, but just looking back as a reference is even harder. So what I did was like most of the video has subtitles. So I sucked all the subtitles so that you can have that like kind of embedded search on the video. So like if you search like, oh, I want to learn about REST, and it actually shows you where exactly in the video it happens, so you can jump through, right? Oh, thanks. Yeah. And also you can also find out what other videos in the same course has one. So you can, rather than watching 100 videos, you can only skip through to watch 5. So I thought that's really great. But as a kind of site owner, you have a matrix to watch. One of the matrix is like, how long your user stays. I'm kind of helping people to go away quickly, which is not that good. Then I'm extreme, so I think extreme way. So if I want people to stay, so I made another site called Step Up IO, which let people to watch the same video again and again. So this is more for like a more casual, like hobbyist. For example, like if you want to learn like ukulele or something, often what you do is like you learn by the code. Like how many people are like musicians or like music? Good. So you're the potential customer maybe. And so what you do is like I can let you, a segment with per step. In this case, a code. So it repeats this step, like which is a C major. And when you're comfortable with it, you can step, and then you can loop the next step until you get it. But point is, often when you practice, the important thing is a combination. So if you step up, you can kind of practice like C and the next sequence in time. So that's what I'm doing as well. And let's see how it works in practice. Yeah.
Number 5.
Yeah. Yeah, so it kind of annoying like if you C major 7, C major 7, C major 7. But usually like repetition is a mother of all study, right? So you need to do it, even though it's kind of annoying to watch it. And also, as you noticed, hopefully, that there is some unidentified, some weird gadget, and it's called leap motion. Has anyone heard of leap motion? Only 1, 2, 3. So, 5. Okay. You guys have to raise your hands quickly. Yeah. I need all the energy. Okay. And how many people have used leap motion? Well, knows leap motion. Okay. Anyway, so leap motion is like a Kinect-like sensor, but like it's very affordable. It's like only 70, 80 euros, I think. And you just put it on, in front of the laptop, and if you do that, it just detects hands motion very accurately, which I integrated. And what I try to do is like, if you're playing guitar and stuff, actually, if you want to actually touch the keyboard, you have to do this, or you have to put the guitar on the side. So I thought like maybe this is an interesting way of using like sensor technology to actually help you study something rather than just doing the game all the time. So that's what it's really hobby, but like I wonder like why the hell are you doing as a full time, right? So original talk was kind of the visualization as an interface. So now I have a bit of twist that like and yesterday I think there's lots of cloud talks, right? So I want to have a bit of that. So I created what's called papas, like SaaS, ICE, PaaS, papas, pet project as a startup. So I'm gonna halfway through talk about my story about how the hell turn your fun pet project into actual startup. Then doing that, I use the power of the visualization as an interface. So that's where this is a technical conference. So I'm gonna talk a bit about code. Unfortunately, there is no Ruby nor Python. It's just JavaScript. But you guys are okay with it? Yeah? Yeah, good. Okay. Enthusiasm, yeah? It's still early in the morning, but I'm already coming with adrenaline and stuff. Okay, so let me breathe. Okay. So papas, okay? So let's say papas. Yes, good. Like the sound of it, So how it started is like back in 2012, about September, I went to Sports Tech, a hackathon called Sports Tech Hack Day. I'm sure you guys all know hackathon, what it is? Who's been in hackathon before? Okay. Who doesn't know what hackathon is? Okay, 1, 2. So hackathon means like hacking plus marathon. So like you do the hack day, so gather people to hack stuff. for like 24 hours. So sometimes you stay whole night, okay? And that's what I did. And usually, how many people has been to hackathon? Raise your hands, okay? Okay. So usually you guys go like, oh, I want to try like new, like AngularJS or whatever JS or, new technology. Or you go there because you're interested on what the hackathon provides, usually like API or data set. And in this case, what they said they're going to provide is the event data of the football. So there's a company called Opta Sports, which records like every football player's like movement, like who this player passed or made a shot, and they provide a kind of stream every minute by minute. So then they say do something interesting. So I thought, yeah, that sounds interesting. So I went there, but only the problem was they weren't there, so there was no data set. So I thought, like, oh, screwed. Like, what should I do? Should I just go home? But then, like, I think when you are constrained by something, then you start using imagination. Then, like, okay, I had to find data, and I thought, like, yeah, video is a big data, isn't it? Like, it's massive data. So I can probably extract some data from out of video. So that's what I did. Is like, I basically visualized the appearance of the all the possessions of Blue is a team called Manchester City, which won the Premier League a few years ago. And the one red moment is a team called QPR. They only had the possession for 5 seconds. And so like, yeah, this is great. Like, it's a good, nice visualization. So I wanted to convey some story. Like, when you talk about data visualization, it's mostly about like, I want to convey some story and people like it, that's it. But when I show this to someone else, they say, well, what if you can actually like, click through and you can use it as a controller? And I thought, oh, he's genius, I must do that. So then what I did was, this is a video. So if you click it, if you click blue, it only skips through the blue team's movement. And the interesting thing is, gray is a time no one's actually playing because they scored the 2 goals in here and here. So this means like nothing. So actually it's useful way to skip through all the like useless stuff and just going through. So okay, it's good. And when I find like, something interesting and I liked it, and with Comic Sans, and so I'll just continue like again and again. That's the extremist, that's the spirit, right? So I did the hackathon in September. I did something in October, and I did something in November as well. And so in October is what you show in the very, very beginning. That like, so this is AKB48, Japanese girls band, and they do have big data problem or big girl band problem because they do have like 82 people in the band, and they do the annual election that like if you buy the CD, you get 1 vote, and you vote for your favorite artist, and only the top like 20 or something get the team, then they can actually play on the TV or something. So that's why I think Japan is only one of the countries where physical CD sales goes up rather than goes down, because that's a voting right, and they're massive in Japan. Crazy country, And so I wanted. It's actually I'm not a big fan of it, but my friends was a fan. So when I first showed the football match, she said, you can solve this problem, and yeah, I'll solve the problem. So what I did was, visualize again. So you can, see who's appear where, and again, if I show the video, yeah. So now you can kind of guess who's my favorite artist, probably, So this person, and you can only watch her, and yeah, her again, right? So that's amazing, but. Again, it was someone else's problem. It wasn't really my problem. That's where I went to like, this online study thing, which I showed you in the very beginning. And so again, everybody said like, yeah, this is a first prototype of doing it. And at that time, because, yeah, I also put thumbnails and they put something fancy stuff. And so people said like, cool and nice. And I think it's supposed to be Hungarian. Yeah, how to pronounce? SIP. Is it? What does it mean? Beautiful. Yes, beautiful. Yeah, I just put it in. Yeah. Okay. And so I thought like, yeah, I'm an extreme programmer, so like I have to do something. I have to do something, and I jumped and I quit the company and doing it full time. But that's stupid thing, right? So you usually need some safeguard or like money or something. And nowadays, actually, it's interesting that like there's something called seed accelerator program. Like, does anyone know like Y Combinator and all that stuff? Yeah. So Y Combinator is a super popular one, but there's now there's an app store for the seed accelerator program called fundings.com. That like if you search for like show me all the accelerator program Europe, and they boom. So there's a loads of them. And I had like actually there's one in Budapest as well. I met someone. No, he's not here. But there's a local program who provides it. So there's a chance here as well in this location. But the one I went is called Bethnal Green Ventures, based in London. And what's unique about what they do is like they invest for app which does social good. You might be thinking, what the hell is that crazy app with something to do with social? But if you think about it, it's education, right? It started as sports, entertainment, but I'm doing education, hence I could apply this. And the interesting thing is, criteria is like if you solve some problem like education or environment or health, you could apply for it. And then one of the few of the companies applied is, for example, mobile game. It's mobile game, but it's trying to solve the panic attack. So when you get into panic attack, you have to breathe deeply to calm down. So this game is actually trying to help people to breathe deeply. So it's a game, but it's social good. And also there's one company who actually tried to create a mobile phone itself, but like environmentally friendly and sustainable and fair trade mobile phone. It's called Fair Phone. And they are actually now selling like 25,000. And I think this is Android phone, and they put some funky stuff like by default you got the root access or something, so you can do whatever you want. So it's kind of crazy thing, but you can actually pitch it as a social good. And another one is like if you are into Arduino, there's one team who went to hackathon where a bunch of firefighters, and they described the problem like they lost some firefighters when they are trying to do stuff. And what they did is like they created a thermometer stuck on top of the helmet. So like if it gets too hot, it alerts the firefighters. The point is nowadays firefighters has such a like high quality things that like because it protected everywhere. By the time you feel the heat, it's too late. So they lose life. So that kind of interesting hack. But you could pitch it as like it could solve someone's life. Then you could get funded. And also, actually, this is because there is a talk about diversity. So I must say, like, this program is highly diversified. That half of the team actually had female co-founders, and they are actually looking for a new application, which is September, finishing in next few weeks. So if you wanna have some cool pet project, and if you wanna say like, I'm solving someone's life, then you could apply that. But only thing I have to warn you is you get like a cash in return for equity, and you put into the 3 months program, and they teach you all the startup business and the stuff. And actually 3 months is not really for like programming stuff, but it's more like validating like is your pet project was actually solving someone's problem. So you spend more time talking to people rather than coding. So I still do code like in a train or at night, but at least like I'm very excited like my pet project could do something. And so yeah, that was a warning. And now the second bit, actually the coding bit, which now I have 9 minutes. And yeah, so I use D3 for this bit to visualize the appearance of the keyword. And so what is D3JS? D3JS is made by a guy called Mike Bostock, and he now works at New York Times. New York Times make loads of interesting data visualizations. And he actually built a website just sharing all what he did. And he actually creates new visualization pretty much every day. So like, this bit much, like he just keep making. So if you look at it, and you can, it's actually the gist. If you put the gist and you put the gist into their website, it turn into D3 visualization. So this is a very good site. And what D3 actually does is, in their documentation, it first said like, D3 is not a new graphical representation, right? So what it is this is a JavaScript library for manipulating documents based on data. And I'm going to explain using the kind of simplified version of what I did for that, using the, my beloved Comic Sans code. No, I told you it's not good, so I'll fall back to the safer options. Yeah, you guys ready it now? Sorry? Yeah, yeah. Well, this is a Comic Sans too, so you can't see the space or not. Anyway, so what it has is like, has anyone done jQuery? Good. Oh, now you guys responding quickly. And like jQuery, it has some sort of like selector bits. So like you select the DOM, and then once you select the DOM, then you can manipulate the attributes. So like it's called dynamic property, and set like width or color or whatever. So this one is using manipulating HTML, and it generates something like this, which a bit resembles to my barcode like search result. And this is like whatever you can do with jQuery or anything. And what's interesting is you can bind the data into the DOM, and also they do have lots of so like you can see like actually data is bound to these things, which you can see with group.data. And you can see like duration 20 minutes, start time duration is 20 minutes, start time is 80 seconds. No, duration is 20 seconds, sorry. And then there's some sort of lots of helper functions which generates new function based on the input output. So in this case, it's creating a scalar function generator that if you pass domain, if it says domain and range, but it's easier to understand if you say if input is like 0 to 100 range and convert into the range of 0 to 800, so it does the transition for you, so you don't have to do a bit of math by yourself. And also they think coloring is all the same scaling problem as well. That, for example, if you have two types, you assign assign color accordingly. Again, you don't have to do it all by yourself. If you just have the function, it generates. Sorry, if you pass the data, it generates a function. And then in the dynamic property, because each DOM, in this case, you created in UL, you appended LI based on the number of datas, and each DOM has a data. So if you pass the function called X, and if you pass X duration, it returns a converted size which fits into the actual output of the window. And yeah, you could do it SVG as well. So if you see the SVG code, yes, there's a difference between your, instead of like div, it could be rectangle or circle, and instead of width, you could say fill or stroke, but the actual part of the changing the scaling and the stuff, it's same. So that's where it mentioned like representation is you could do whatever. You can actually use it with Canvas if you want to, but the problem is that Canvas doesn't really necessarily have the DOM, so you have to do a bit more to it. So it really shines if you use with SVG, but you can also do HTML as well. And so you might think, how many minutes left now? Sorry. 2 minutes, okay, I'll go quickly. So you might think what's the difference between this way and jQuery, and I'm just fast forwarding the talk. And some people said like, yeah, you just make a shiny data, but I disagree with it, because one of the example Mike Bostock, the author, did is like, he just created the input slider, but it's directly bound to the date visualization. So again, here it's using like date visualization to help you doing the input. And I think back in the days when you are doing like a video control or something, the controller button and what you are seeing, there's so much disconnect. It's so far. But with using date visualization, if you make the input and what you're seeing a lot closer, it helps people to learn what to do with the input. And what I try to do is leap motion is, so there's a JavaScript binding, so you can actually code in JavaScript. And there's a demo site, which if you do this kind of thing, it actually detects the position of the fingers. And it also has a quick gestures. So like if you do like this strike, it recognizes a swipe up and down. And if you do the circle, it just does a circle. So and it has a, if you want to use it, there's a, you bind to the event called frame, and you can put the position, and you can put the type of the, yeah, 1 minute. And what I try to do is like to experiment is in the very beginning, you try to do this, and he was doing like this because he didn't see enough immediate effect, seeing result of what he's trying to do. So I try to experiment these two. That like if you see it, you can actually see where your position is. And if I try to do the circle, it kind of detects. And if you do the swipe, I think. I'm losing time. But what you can see is, yeah, you see the ping to recognize those things. So like you can, if you can see what it's doing dynamically, then you can train yourself to better train with the input. So that's what I'm trying to experiment right now, and I think I only have 30 seconds. So lessons learned, no Comic Sans on editor, and doing a cool stuff for good could get you funded. And every input needs a visualization. It's not the output, it's the input what it matters for visualization. And there's lots of information. And if you like my talk, I'm still validating my business idea about my pet project. So if you like it, just try to use this product and let me know your feedback. And thank you very much. Thanks. Questions? No. No questions? Yes?
So with the video of the soccer, football, and
yeah.
the girls, did you have to go through and watch it?
Yeah. So I did manually, and that's one of the reasons I kind of moved to education, because in education, so for them you have to do it manually, which has a time, or if you can talk to Opta and buy the data, I can dynamically generate the one, but I don't have access to the data. Whereas in education, you can use subtitle as a metadata. So well, I mean, that's how I did it for the search, right? Like, because it has a SRT file format, so it have the start and the end point of each phrase, so I don't have to do it manually. That's why I kind of, another reason I did education. Yeah. Anything? Okay, great. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for listening.